We are back for take 3. We're back for take 3. I hope we're working this time. Hopefully we're working. Let's see if anybody hops in and finds us. We've had to stop and restart. This is our take 3. Deep breath. We've got to get this primitive Santa hat done. And thank goodness it's not a very complicated project because we're already 13 minutes in. I'm so sorry. Whew. Okay. Looks like we're working. Looks like y'all are coming back in. Good. Yay. Okay. I was so worried that I wasn't going to be able to hook up. All right. I think we're going good. Hi, Miss Sharon. Sorry. So sorry, Elizabeth. Thank you all for hanging with me, though. I appreciate you all so much. I did have to go back and cancel the other videos and delete them because I think it was getting confusing. Anyway, we are using the Dollar Tree dusting microfiber mop pad, okay, to make a primitive style Santa hat. So good thing I've already got lots of steps prepared because we're going to whiz right through this lightning fast. So we have like 30 minutes before our next creator is up live over in the Craft on the Clock group on Facebook. If you are not familiar with that, you need to check it out. It is an amazing group of creators. We have around 120 creators that go live over there occasionally. And actually we have live crafting Monday through Friday, early morning to late at night every week, you guys. So if you don't see something you like 1 minute, stick around. You'll see something the next minute. You probably will. So check out that amazing group. Thank you all so much for being here. My name is Tracy Campbell from My Sweet Home Living. If you are new here, please let me know. The picture is better this time. Awesome. I think it's a technical glitch right now because I didn't do anything differently. So you never know what you're going to get. But thank you all. Thank you so much. All right. We are going to grunge up this Dollar Tree mop pad. That's hard for me to spit out. It's hard for me to spit out. Okay, so I've already done one, but let me kind of show you just a real quick way of how I did it. And this is what mine looks like. Now mine, I got it a little grungy and it's still a little damp, but it will dry a lot lighter than this, okay? So don't freak out. I kind of started to freak out a little bit, but I have to remind myself every time. Okay, the coffee grunge does dry a lot lighter than it goes on wet. Okay, so if you're not familiar, not used the coffee grunge mix a whole lot yet, that is the case. Okay, I have a new batch of coffee grunge that I just mixed up about 20 minutes ago, and so we are going to be using that today. And all I'm doing is I have just an old chippy brush. Let me tilt my camera down just a tiny bit. I want to make sure you guys can see what we're doing. And if you need to, you can sink those comments down. There we go. Sorry, I don't like to wiggle my camera around a lot once we get started, but I had to take it off and rearrange when we had those technical issues, and so that kind of created needed a little bit of rearranging. Okay, so that's kind of what I've done that first batch. Thank you all for those hearts. I appreciate it. Hey, Miss Charlene, first time here. Welcome. So excited you're here. All right, I'm just taking this chippy brush of coffee grunge and I'm just kind of just dusting over it. I'm dusting the dusting pad. Okay, now that's about all I'm going to do right there. So, but I kind of can separate those fibers because it's fluffy. You can go down in there and you can get lots of grunge down in there. Just kind of pounce it down in there and it's going to soak up quite a bit. But now here's what I found works better. I just take a wad of paper towels. Thank you for the stars. Mary said she can smell the coffee grunge already. Oh, girl. I'm telling you, this stuff smells so good. I wish I could just bottle it up and make an air freshener. Well, I guess technically I kind of do create some air fresheners of the things that I use around the house. It's just a real subtle smell. It's not super strong. It's got coffee, cinnamon, and vanilla. Now this time I ran out of cinnamon, so I put half cinnamon which would be 1 tablespoon of cinnamon, and I used 1 tablespoon of pumpkin pie spice, which I have never done before. And I have to say, I prefer the full strength cinnamon. I don't know. This is still nice. I mean, this still does have cinnamon in it, just not as much. This has cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, ginger, and cloves. And it could be that it would smell better if I used 2 tablespoons of this, but I used 1 of this and 1 of just regular cinnamon. And compared to my regular coffee grunge, I'm not as crazy about it. It's don't get me wrong, the smell is still amazing. It is still amazing. But I prefer the 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. I just prefer the smell much better. So I take my paper towel. You saw what I did. I just kind of poured a little bit onto my paper towel, and I'm just using it and just dabbing it on here. I'll take it and I'll squeeze my paper towel onto it, and it helps soak it up. Now, this is totally a personal preference on how dark or how covered you want this. If you still want a little bit of white coming through, you probably won't use this as much. You might just want to kind of dab it in some places, in a few spots. And you could totally skip the paintbrush application of it first and get a much softer, delicate grunging to it. But now this will give it an amazing smell. And remember, it will dry lighter than it is when it's wet, okay? So don't worry if you get it and it's dark and you're thinking, oh, I ruined it. And if you still think it's dark after it dries, dip it in some hot water, squeeze out the excess and let it dry, and it'll be even lighter, okay? So there's really not any wrong you can do with this stuff, you guys. And if it's not dark enough, let it dry and apply another coat to it, okay? Now, if you really wanted to saturate it, you could soak it in just a pot of hot diluted coffee, okay? But that's going to take a long time to dry. And I don't have that time to wait. I know you probably don't either. Tabitha says, I love my coffee grunge mix. I use it all the time. That's awesome. Hey, Miss Tina, first time watching? Welcome. So I'm just taking a dry paper towel, and I'm just dabbing the excess up. And you can see it's already gotten a lot lighter. And it's just going to give me just a good vintage creamy color. I don't want anything super bright white, okay? Now you can see this one is still wet, okay? And this one is a lot drier, okay? So I'm going to take this paper towel and I'm going to do the same method over here. I'm just using it to wick that extra out of that mop pad, okay? Now I did apply it a little heavier to this one at first, and so it's going to be really damp. But just take your paper towel, rub it back and forth, and that will even out a little bit of your colors. Now I'm okay with a little bit of variation. That doesn't bother me at all. To me, that just gives it more character. But I'm just giving you some tips. If you start creating this and you don't like the look, on how you can change the look or make it look more your style. So I have 2 of those, and they are still damp. Okay, that bottom one is still really damp. But you can see we've taken it from this to this. And I tell you, the sniff test, this one smells much better. This one smells much better. So this is going to be the base of our Santa hat. All right. Now, let's set these aside for just a moment. We'll set those right down there. Let those finish drying. I have taken some muslin material, and I've already cut out my triangles. But I'm going to cut out a quick triangle with you to kind of show you how I sized mine. Okay. You want a double layer of material. If you want to use a drop cloth, you totally can. Drop cloth would be perfect for this, okay, actually. So, I'm just trying to clear out some space here. Got my table loaded down, you guys. Loaded down with lots of goodies today. All right, so what I did, I'm actually going to need that mop pad back up here in a second. What I did is I took my mop, my dusting pad, okay? We have 343 on here. That is amazing. You all are doing awesome. Thank you all so much. I've laid it on my material, and I'm using this as my width, okay? Just as a rough guide. I'm not measuring this, you guys. I can give you final measurements of my hat when I'm finished, but I'm just totally just eyeballing this. And this is going to be part of like maybe, I know, for 2-part series, maybe 3-part, because I have some other items that I'm making with this. And once I get all the items made together, y'all look at my hands. Once I get all of those pieces put together and created, then I'm going to show you how I'm going to put it together to create an amazing display piece using some Barnwood, some authentic Barnwood. Okay, you won't want to miss it. And by the way, I will be live again tomorrow. Can't remember what time. I think it's either 9:45 or 10:30. I can't remember. Central Time. I'll post a reminder here on my page in the morning, and we will do the second part of this. Okay. Now, all I did, ideally, I need to have this at the bottom of my fabric. I have this double layer because I'm going to cut out 2 long, skinny triangles. That's going to serve as my hat, you guys. Okay, just as the base. Now, like I said, I'm not measuring. And if I really wanted to get technical, I tell you what, that will be easier. And this is what I did with the first ones. Let me cut a real long rectangle, and then I fold that rectangle in half and then make my triangle. That way my triangle is somewhat symmetrical. That's about as technical as we're going to get around here. Let me move this out of the way. All right, so I'm going to take this rectangle. It's not even exact on both sides. We're already getting some coffee that I had drips on my table, but that's okay because we're going to put some of that coffee grunge on here anyway. All right, I folded it in a long rectangle, and then what I'm going to do, use this as my guide, and I am going to cut on the unfolded side. Got to rearrange my table, and my camera space here is not quite enough room here. I'm just eyeballing it, and I'm going to cut down to the top. Let me scoot this over so you can see this. Down to the top of where my mop pad is. All right, we're going to set that aside over here. All right, so here we go. I've got some scraps hanging off over here, so let me trim that off. Okay, so now what I can do is I can unfold it, and I have a long skinny hat, but I have 2 pieces that match, right? And I actually left that folded on the bottom. So you can do that, or I'm just going to go ahead and cut it because I'm only going to paint one of these pieces because I've already pre-painted, or stained rather, another piece that I'm going to show you so we can speed along the process here. All right, so what I have done next, I take basic acrylic paint. You guys, my kids, when they were really, really little, they loved painting. I've got all kinds of random colors. You can get these for like 50 cents at like craft supply stores. All I have done, let me show you. I have taken this red paint, I'm trying to mix this back up, taken a little bit of this red paint and poured it in a glass cup, anything. With disposable, anything, a disposable cup, and you could even get away with it. I put some of that red acrylic paint, cheapy red paint, and then what I do to get the patina that I like is I put a little bit of my coffee grunge in it to dilute it. Okay, now I'm not going to add a whole lot because I've already done so, but I know some people are more visual and they kind of have to see the process, right? So that's what I have done there. Now I'm mixing it up, and it's going to be really drippy, really watery. Now you can see some of that acrylic paint has built up on my bristles, and I'm just going to mash that against the side of my cup. That way I can kind of redistribute that color, that pigment, down into that mixture. Okay, now you might want to test it on a scrap piece before you go all in if you want to. This is just this is not what I was going to use, but I'm just going to test it on this real quick. You can test the color to see if you like it. If it's too red, then you know to add a little bit more coffee grunge. If it's not red enough for you, then you'll know to add a little more paint. Now, I will say that it does take on a slightly different color when it dries, okay? You can place this on a baking sheet. Place it in a low oven, okay, a low temp oven. For about 10 minutes, flip it and give it a few more minutes, but you want to keep a close eye on it, and it will dry, okay? It will dry and it gets a little crisp. So that's what I would do to this whole triangle piece right here, you guys, okay? So let me show you what I have done. I have already done so with this material. Now you see, this is still not quite all the way dry. I still have a little bit of dampness in it. You can see where the blotchiness. It is going to be a little bit blotchy. For me, I'm okay with that. Now here's the thing. Once you start painting this, once you dip your paintbrush in, you want to stir it up and mash it on the sides, redistribute that color, and then when you paint it on, you want to go in the length. Your strokes need to go in the length of your fabric. So if your fabric is longer this way, you're going to make your brush strokes go this way. Okay, don't make them go side to side on this one, because the coloration, the distribution of the color, that's not even a word, distribution. I just made it up. The distribution of the color will look much better if you go the lengthwise of your material, of your fabric. Okay. All right. So I have gone ahead and I've put this in the oven, but I had to pull it out quick. Now let me tell you, I got in a rush, and let me show you another thing you'll want to not do. Do as I say, not as I do, okay? Now this one I put on, I laid it on a sheet of parchment paper that filled it up, and laid this on a cookie sheet, okay? This one, I thought I was going to be real smart and just slide it in there real quick. I laid it on the parchment paper and laid it in my oven, but do you see what I see? The oven rack, the heat from the metal from the rack will make some streaks. So, wah, wah, wah. Learn from me, don't do that. I got in a rush and didn't even think about it, and then when I went to get it, I was like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? So, but this will be the back of my hat, so I'm not going to worry about it. But just word of caution there, you want to make sure that you put it on a baking sheet. Put it on parchment paper and then place it on a baking sheet as well. And that will help it dry evenly without those oven marks. Hello, Miss Melody. Hello, Miss Christy. Do you like the marks? Oh, I don't know. I think it's because I know they're not supposed to be there. So for me, it's like one of those things I can't get past. But it'll be the back of my hat. I'm not going to worry about it too much. But I want you guys to know to avoid that, especially if this is something that you're making to sell. All right, so I've got some hot glue. What I would recommend is using some fabric glue sticks. I didn't do that today, so we're going with it. We are just winging it, you guys. We're flying by the seat of our pants here today. I have the right sides of this together, and I am going down with a strip of hot glue, and we're going to place the other right side of this hat face down, and we want to make sure that we get that glue pressed together very well in between those two pieces. Okay, now we'll go to the other side and do the same thing. Now you can get away with lots of boo-boos with rustic and primitive style crafts, you guys. You really can, because a lot of times, I mean, it just gives you more character, you know, very forgiving. So, which is why, another reason why it's so easy to do. Can't hardly mess it up. And if you do, a lot of times you might like it even better, or you'll find a way to fix it and, you know, give you something new that you didn't think about before. I've done that so many times. I'll mess up and think, oh my gosh, I've ruined it, but then I actually end up liking it a little better. All right, I've got a little too much fabric up there where it didn't quite match up. All right, so let's glue this side, and then we will turn it right side out. You notice I am not gluing the bottom, just in case. Just in case you get in a hurry, make sure that you don't glue the bottom of the hat pieces together. You want to leave those open. I know most of you probably know that, but just... All right, let me trim this excess that's hanging off this side. All right, want to make sure. Now that's what we have right there. Now this is the wrong side. I did not paint both sides of my material, okay? So, thank you, Miss Brenda, for sprinkling. I appreciate you, friend. Looks like he leaned his head back against the chimney. This is the wrong side, so, yeah, right now it kind of looks a little, looks a little sketchy. I'm thinking, wow. I'm going to cut the tip of my hat off, make it a little bit rounded at the top. And then we are going to turn it right side out. Now this will take a little bit. If it comes unglued, all you got to do is just stick a little bit of glue right back in the same little areas. But you do want to kind of be easy with it. Okay. Right now it looks like we just have a bundle of paper. And once you paint it and bake it, or you can let it air dry. You don't have to put it in the oven, you guys. I pulled a little too hard, too fast. My seam is coming apart. I'm gonna have to do a little repair work on here. Once you bake it, it gives it a little bit of a sturdier feel to it, and it's kind of like leather, which is kind of why it's a little bit more challenging to unfold to turn right side out. So don't get in a hurry like I am. Take it slow and just slowly unfold that and right side out. Okay. All right. All right, now, come on. I'm getting in too big of a hurry. That's my problem. When it gets down to this point right here, it can get really tricky. So the best part to do is just take it and pull it out just a little tiny bit by bit. And you'll see the slower you pull, the better it will unfold for you when you get down to this tip. Almost got it. Okay. I'm just going to leave it at that right now. Okay, now here we go. I do have a little spot over here that I yanked. I yanked on it too hard and I pulled it loose. Or either that or I didn't put the glue on thick enough right there. So let's just do a little bit of repair work right there. And if you use fabric glue, it will do you some good too, because it'll hold it a little sturdier. Now let me take my finger in down here at the tip and see if I can't help it out a little bit. All right, that's good enough. That's good for now. All right. Now, I will say that I kind of wish mine was a little bit more red, and which I can totally go ahead and apply another coat of that red paint and let it dry later. And that's probably what I'll do. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little mop pad here, and I'm going to kind of eyeball this and see. I'm looking at it from a distance to see how much of this I want. I can raise it up and I can attach it at the very bottom, or I can scoot it up like this. And I'm thinking I want to see a little bit more of that hat. So I think what I'll do is I will just attach it close down here to the bottom. That's what we'll do. All right. Now you can totally do this on both sides, since if you want to do a mop pad on both sides, you could totally do that. And I'll have to probably look at this and decide. Actually, let's look at it and decide right now, shall we? I know since this side I kind of have the wrinkles in it, or the markings. You know what? I don't think those markings are going to even show that bad, because the way I'm going to arrange it here in a little bit, I don't think it's going to matter. So we're just going to go for it. We're going to go ahead and we're going to put it on. I will say that if you put one on both sides, you want to make sure that you get them even, okay? So glue that down. I'm going to kind of put some pressure on that because that little mop pad is so fluffy. I might not be pressing it together very well. And then I'm going to glue the sides together. Okay, press those down really good. And I'll probably go back in and add fabric glue to this after I'm off today, guys, because I really want this to stick together really well. And I'm putting this hot glue on the flat part of this. If you look at the back of this one, this is a mop pad that I haven't done anything with yet. I'm not putting glue on this fluffiness, okay? I'm putting the hot glue on this flatter surface so that it adheres and sticks better, okay? All right. Is that not cute already? Oh, yes, yes, yes. It's going to be so cute. Okay, I might need to grab another glue stick here in a minute. Now, what I'm going to do next, I have some rusty bells. We have about 8 minutes left because of our whole Facebook technical problems. It slowed us down. I'm looking to see how I want to embellish this. I've got several ideas. I could use some black homespun and just make a cute little sort of a little bow. Now, I have not grunged this up yet, so I'm just eyeballing this. Okay, I don't know what we're doing yet. I could use, I don't have like all of my Christmas greenery out yet, but I don't want this to be like superly, you never know what words I'm going to say around here. I don't want this to be overly like dressy like. So I want it kind of natural and rustic a little bit. So I'm thinking of some other options of how I can embellish this. I'm not super crazy about the homespun. Let me keep looking. I have some dried, I have some dried oranges. Some dried orange slices. I have a little pine cone. It's not the right color. I could add a little more coffee grunge to it. Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. I think I've got it. I have some dried bay leaves. And they might be too crumbled. I don't know. Hang with me here. I'm looking to see what would work best here. I just have some dried naturals. And I think that's what I'm going to use, you guys. I think. Holy smokes. Okay. Now, the problem with that is I did not bring like any raffia to the table. Raffia, you know, that kind of stuff. I didn't plan on going this route. I don't know. I didn't even bring any cheesecloth to the table. What? I always bring cheesecloth. Okay, well, it's not meant to be for that. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to coffee grunge this little homespun thing. And then what I'm going to do, sorry about that. I hit my mic, I think. Coffee grunge this little strip right here. Because I haven't already done that. I need a coffee stain that like a whole batch of fabric. I need a whole batch of cheesecloth and a whole batch of homespun to kind of get me ready for the rest of my Christmas crafts. I need to do that. All right, we're going to let this dry for a minute. And while we're letting this dry, we are going to go ahead and, you know what I'm going to do? In case I don't like this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a circle of this scrap piece of muslin material. Okay? Hang with me here. Just a little circle here. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this sort of as my little temporary placement. Let's see. Some oranges are bigger than others. This is going to be really a little bit different. Different is good. That's okay. We're going with the flow around here. I kind of like these little dried leaves. There's all kinds of little goodies in here, you guys. Oh, I see something else I want to use. And I can't see these little guys. Oh my gosh, y'all, please don't look at my fingers. I'm going to use a few of those. Let's see if I can find another one. And I think that'll give it that real natural look that I love. There are some rose hips in here too. There's a little miniature rusty bell. Okay, let's go with this. All right. So I'm going to glue everything that I want on here onto this little scrap piece of muslin. That way, I think what I'll do is I'll take a little stitch after I'm finished and I will stitch it through this mat and stitch it on here. That way I can remove it if I'm not crazy about it. Okay? I think that's what I'm going to do. That's what we're doing for now. Never know what's going to go on around here. this is still drying, and it's almost dry already. And then we'll attach that little homespun bow, and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, I've got some of these little dried naturals. I'm just kind of sticking them in here. Now, if I have some of this material that's still kind of poking out, I'll trim the excess off here in just a minute. Okay, we have just a couple minutes left. And my friend Tracy from Scrappy's Rustics is going to be on live next after me over in the Craft Around the Clock group. So I want to make sure that you guys definitely get to check her out. All right, let me scoot this orange down. This just helps me to be able to like rearrange and get things placed just right before I actually commit to placing it on the hat. Hope that makes sense. And this smells amazing, by the way, itself. Yes, it does. I need a little bit more glue right in there. Okay. And I think this looks nice. It's just a little bit of a different change from your normal like pine and berries. I like it. I do think I need just a smidge more greenery in there though. So I will probably go ahead and do that shortly. All right. I do have a little bell, and I will probably tie this on, but I am going to go ahead and put a little dab of glue on the back of this bell and stick that right on top of that orange. Oh, I love how this is coming together. Hang on. Hang on. And I will take a photo of this in just a little bit, and I'll share it on my page so you guys can see what this is going to look like when it's finished. I didn't have a little, should have brought my string to the table, did I? It's right there behind me. That's okay. We'll do this. We can improvise. All right, a little dab of hot glue on there. I'm going to stick that right on top of my bell. Okay, I am going to keep working on this because I think it needs a little bit of raffia. I am going to put a rusty bell at the top. Okay, maybe a little raffia at the top. And I've got to string that on. I've got to string that on. Darn it, these technical issues today. We would have gotten this finished, you guys. We lost 15 minutes for technical issues. I'm so sorry. Okay, you guys, my friend Tracy from Scrappy's Rustics is coming up next. I'm going to sit here and finish this and post a photo shortly. You will stay tuned. I will be live again tomorrow morning with part 2 of this little series, of this little set that I'm putting together. And I'll see you then. Have a great day.